This is a 3DS. This is also a 3DS. I know it doesn't look like one with the rounded edges, the smaller hinge bar, the larger cartridge slot, but it's still technically a 3DS. It's just the forgotten child of the 3DS family. Releasing in 2017 and only selling about 4.5 million units. Even the Wii U sell better than this piece of shit. Now, the new 2DS XL isn't a bad console. It's basically the same thing, but $50 less and minus the 3D. And of course it would be. It's the newest entry in the budget lineup of the 3DS family. But was it really worth saving that $50 instead of buying a new 3DS XL? I don't know. I had the new 3DS XL. Well, I guess we're gonna find out together. Now, just on the top of the systems, you can already see some slight differences. The 2DS is smaller, has a texture on its top, and the cameras are on the bottom rather than, again, the top. There are also other differences, like the cartridge slot being behind here and the SD card being there, which I think makes much more sense than hiding it all the way in the system, especially since with the 3DS, they give you a guide to replace it, so it's not like they don't want you replacing the SD card. Now, overall, the system is a very nice color scheme, much smoother than the 2DS, much simpler, but it fits. It's the budget model, so being smoother helps. Now, actually opening the systems up, you can already tell a difference. Namely, the hinge on the 2DS XL is so much quieter than the 3DS, and sounds so much better. Looking at the buttons themselves, the 2DS retains the blue-black color scheme, which I think is not as good as the 3DS buttons. I like the style on the 3DS XL so much more with the colored rather than just the plain blue. Moving to the top screen, it no longer has opaque plastic sides. Those are replaced with more of a blended side rather than the screen cutting off here. The glass just continues, which I think looks, again, better as well. So overall, mostly, the 2DS does have the 3DS beat in terms of looks. Now, the volume slider is also missing from the top. Instead, it is on the side. And the 3D slider is just entirely gone, because again, it's a 2DS. It doesn't do 3D. That's not the point of the model. Turn them on. Okay, now that they've both booted up, the 2DS does boot faster, and the 3DS is a little louder. So there are some slight differences, despite it being the same operating system, because obviously a newer system is going to have a better processor, stuff like that. Overall, it's mostly the same. And next, we will test how comfortable the control schemes are with a little game called Super Mario 3D Land. What did I just launch on the 3DS? Anyway, let's get that game card in. It will be a simple test of 10 minutes of gameplay on each system, and whichever system proves to be more comfortable over the time will win. Now, again, because they're both from the 3DS family, despite it being a 2DS, these do play the same games. So, oh my god, I just accidentally launched something again. We will start with the 3DS. Which, actually, putting that in does seem about roughly equal volume with the 2DS. So, I don't know. But let's just get right to the test. Now, first of all, they obviously feel about the same in terms of performance, if not exactly the same, because it is the same system overall. Like, it's basically the same thing. However, in terms of how comfortable they are, the 2DS honestly has the 3DS beat. It felt so much better to use the smaller, more curved frame of the 2DS than it did the longer of the 3DS. You could say I like smaller things, and that would be completely true, because they're easier to fit in your hands. Moving on, this also ended up, during the testing, being louder than the 3DS, both at full volume. This is at full, this one's also at full. This one did end up slightly louder on 3DS, so the initial impressions that this one gave on the home screen are kind of wrong, because in-game this proved louder. So, to recap, is the new 2DS XL worth choosing over the new 3DS XL? Yeah, if you don't care about the 3D feature. It plays the same games with a more comfortable control scheme, and honestly, in my opinion, a really damn good design. They both have their strengths, and the new 2DS XL being the cheaper model, and with the new 2DS XL being the cheaper model, I assume the new 3DS XL performs slightly better. But if you want to save a nice $50, the new 2DS XL is honestly still a pretty good buy. Well, that's about all I have for you all. See ya.